So the next application of friction is nails can be fixed on wall or else any kind of wood. If you want to join the two woods with the help of nail, so here also friction will plays the important role. So now we'll see what is the importance of friction in fixing a nails can be fixed in a wall or any kind of two wood to joining the woods. So we are able to fix nails in a wall due to friction. If there is no friction, we cannot fix the nails to walls. So when we hammer a nail into the wall, understand? So it is the friction between the surface of nail. It is the friction between the surface of nail and wall which holds the nail tightly in the wall. Which holds the nail tightly in the wall. So that is only called as friction. So without friction, nails could not be fixed in a wall to hold the things. Whatever, see, after keeping the nails inside the wall, we used to hang something. So if there is no friction, what we can say, these nails cannot hold any kind of things. So nails and like even screws are also held in wood by only friction. So if there were no friction, then nails and screws could not be used to hold pieces of wood together, and hence we could not make any furniture like table, bench, chair, like etc. Understanding? Because of friction only it is possible to make the all kind of furniture with the help of nails. So the friction enables nails and screws to hold things together. Okay, so the friction enables, like suppose if you know that knots, we used to call it as knots. So knots means we know the rope is made up of different kind of threads. Is it correct or not? So they used to tie like this. Understanding? So together they used to kept like a, what we can say, like our hair, ladies, how they can do like that, they used to make. So now with this rope, understanding, so this is our rope now. So with this rope we used to tie, like what I can say, that with the help of this rope I used to tie like this, suppose some kind of like a ring shape, like a bulls and all cows, how we can tie. So the tying of something is called as knots. Okay, so here also these knots also, the knots of a rope also, friction enables these knots to be tied in string or any kind of ropes, etc. Understanding? Together. So knots in ropes are held together by only friction. If not, they will be, understanding, separated each other. You can see if you take the single rope and you can try to rotate backward direction, you can see that so many kind of threads we used to get. And also we can tie with this with the help of these ropes. So this one, that tying, we used to get some kind of ball shape, correct or not? Like suppose if this is the rope, we used to tie like this, some animals and all, correct or not? So that one is called as knots. So these knots and all, they will be together only because of friction. So if friction enables a person, suppose if you'll consider a tree or a pole, suppose if you'll consider a pole, iron pole, in last class I have taught you, pole or any kind of tree, let me imagine, some kind of tree, a very big tree. Okay, so if you want to climb this one or else any kind of pole, without sliding down all the time, understanding, so friction only enables a person to climb this kind of a tree or any kind of pole. Suppose an oily or greasy pole, suppose let me imagine this is a big pole. Okay, now if I'll apply the oil, understand, throughout the surface, okay, a film of oil, if I'll have done any kind of a greasy or a greasy pole, has much less friction, due to which it becomes difficult to climb up a greasy pole or else oily pole. So that is the reason friction only it is make us to climb every kind of trees. So if you apply the oil, then this oil will reduces the friction between our foot palm and the pole surface. So that is why it is very difficult to climb. So friction enables, even if we'll take ladder to be leaned against a wall and not slip down together to be the floor because of friction only. So normally if you consider this is the wall and we'll keep the ladder in this certain angle. Is it correct or not? Leaned, understand, leaned against a wall and not slip to the floor because it is because of friction, it can be stand stagnantly. So like that, friction helps in the construction of buildings also. If there is no friction, without friction, we cannot even construct a single building. No building could be constructed without friction. So friction enables Understanding the belts even drive missions in factories. So we know that rotating wheels we used to connecting with the motor, and wheels we are rotating connecting with the belts. So if these belts there is no friction means, then missions cannot run in factories or anywhere. Understand? So without friction, belts would not drive the missions. So this is what nails can be fixed on walls. So this is the sixth applications of friction. Like that, advantages of friction. Like that, the next advantage of friction is friction enables us to light a matchstick. So we know that if we'll rub the matchstick on a matchbox, we used to get a fire. Is it correct or not? So here also friction is playing the key role. If there is no friction, we cannot get the fire from the matchstick. So that is our next uses of friction. So next advantage of friction is friction enables us to light matchsticks. Light a matchsticks. Understand? So now in this case you will see what is going to happen when we rub a matchstick against the rough side of a matchbox. Is it correct or not? So basically matchbox will be in a rectangular shape. So this side and this side it is having a rough surfaces. Now if we take some kind of matchstick from the box, and you just take one matchstick from the box, and if you'll try to rub, understanding, or else if you'll try to hit this rough surface with the matchstick, then a friction between this head of matchstick a little bit is like a bubble, cut or not? So with this matchstick and the rough side of a matchbox produces a heat. So here what is the cause behind it? Friction between the head of matchstick and rough surface of this matchbox produces the heat. So this heat burns the chemicals present on the head of matchstick, due to which the matchstick lights up. Matchstick will catch the fire. Okay, so the matchstick catches fire and starts burning. So the burning of a matchstick would not be possible without friction. Understanding? So it is not possible without friction. So it is difficult to light a matchstick by striking it on a smooth surface, because enough friction is not provided by a smooth surface to produce sufficient heat. That is why after using some days, this same matchbox, if you are using continuously to rub these matchsticks, then after few days, it is within a single shot, we cannot lighten up the matchstick. Correct or not? So continuously you need to try, because after using a continuously, the rough surface will become smooth. So it will take time to catch the fire. So that is why a new box, if you take within a single shot, once if you rub, you will get matchstick will get the fire. But if you are using after 1 week, you used to try to rub the matchstick, it will take 2-3 times to continuously if you rub, then only it will be lightening. Understand? So that is because of roughness will decrease as after use. So this is what seventh advantages of friction. Like that, the last advantage of friction is friction enables us to cut wood with a saw. Cutting. Understanding? Cut wood with a saw. So saw or any kind of axe or something, if you are able to cut the wood, means because of friction only. If there is no friction, it is not possible to cut any kind of wood. So we are able to cut wood because there is friction between the saw blade and the log of woods. So you just keep heading that. What is the heading? Friction enables us to cut wood with a saw. Cut wood with a saw. So here, what is going to happen? Whatever the friction, so the friction causes objects, understanding the whatever the friction which is present in between, okay, the saw blade and a log of wood, with that we are able to cut this wood. Okay, so if we take any kind of wood, what is going to happen? So we used to cut with some kind of a saw. So if this saw is trying to cut this log of wood means, so here the friction is present in between this blade of this saw and the log of wood. If there were no friction between this saw blade and log of wood, then the cutting of wood not be possible. So these are the 8 advantages of friction. Now Now we are going to study the next concept is advantages we have studied. Now we have to study what? Disadvantages of friction. So you just keep heading that disadvantages of friction. The next concept is what? Disadvantage. So if you're having some advantages of something means definitely disadvantages also will be present. Disadvantages of friction. So we are having so many advantages of friction like that. If you are having advantages means automatically at least few disadvantages also will be. Now we will discuss what are the effects or disadvantages of friction. Now friction causes objects to wear away. This is the main thing. So due to this friction, the thickness of the objects is decreasing day by day. Means that is only wear away, so that their shelter, what we can say, that thickness, outer layers will be removed. They will be removed from the object because of this friction. Okay, so tiny pieces break off. Okay, break off a surface when it rubs against another surface. When it rubs against another surface. Are you clear? So the wear and tear due to friction can happen quickly or slowly depending on the nature of material of the two surfaces. What I'm saying, the wear and tear, the wear of or and tear. Tear means a few objects will be tear because of this friction. So tear due to friction can happen. It may be a few objects, it may happen very quickly, or few objects it may happen slowly depending on the nature of material of the two surfaces. So here the surfaces of two objects is matters. Nature of the two objects is matter. So friction or else a frictional force is harmful us and consider an evil because of the a few disadvantages. In that, the first one is, suppose if it comes to our slippers or shoes, okay, you can see that friction wears away the soles of our shoes. Means the bottom part of the shoe, if you are using continuously some days, then it will be wears away because of this friction only, because of the rapid action between our shoe, the soles of our shoe and the earth. So it will be wears away. So the first disadvantages of friction is friction wears away. Understanding the soles of shoe. The soles of our shoes are shoes. So what is going to happen in this? When we walk on the road, there is friction between the soles of our shoe and the surface of road. So if you consider this is the surface of road and this is my soles of my shoes, then when I am walking continuously, what is going to happen? Some kind of frictional force is acting in between the soles of my shoe and the surface of road. So when the shoes of our shoe, when the soles of our shoes rub against the rough surface of road, then what is going to happen? The tiny pieces of our soles keep on breaking off slowly, due to which the soles of our shoes wear out gradually. So the wear and the tear of the shoes of our soles of our shoes ultimately causes holes in the soles. So that is why if you are using some days, it's like more than, it's like 6 months, 1 year, if you use, you can see that the soles of our shoe, understanding, is to get small holes, because that part is continuously breaking off, and it is causing for the soles of our shoes wear out gradually, and it will tear off the soles of our shoes, ultimately causes holes in the soles means shoes. So the shoes get damaged and become unfit to wear. So because of this is wear away due to friction. This is the first disadvantages of friction. Like that, if we'll take even the next disadvantage is disadvantage of two. The vehicle tires. The tires of a vehicles wear out gradually due to friction. This is the common thing which you used to observe. So while you suppose today you have purchased some kind of bike or something, you can see that the tires, understanding there, it is very, very beautiful, and their very thickness of their tires is also very good. Understand? So when the vehicles like cars, buses, bicycle, trucks or something run on the road, there is a friction between the surface of tires and the surface of road. So the rubbing of tires with road keeps on breaking tiny pieces of rubber from the tire surface gradually. So ultimately all the treads, understand? Treads means some kind, suppose if you consider this is the tire means it is having some kind of ups and hills and grooves. Is it cut or not? So this is only called as what we used to call this is only we used to called as a okay. So this is only we used to called as a tires gradually. So this treads we used to call this one some kind of different kind of shapes. Different company tires we usually in a different shape. So this is only called as treads. TREADS. So this treads gradually removed from the tires, surface of the tires. So ultimately this all the treads, TREADS, treads present on the surface of a tire are worn out. Understand? So worn out means wear away from the tire, worn out, and the tire becomes badly. Understanding? So the tire become badly means it will become baldy. We used to call it. Baldy means it will become very thin. So usually we used to get the puncture. Correct or not? So since baldy tires have to be replaced by new tires, thus the tires of vehicles wear out due to friction with the road. Understand? So the tire turns to bad tires means the thickness of the tires will decreases. That is only called as baldy. We used to call it as baldy tires means damaged tires. So this is causes for continuous puncture or else blasting of tires. Something is happening. So the tube cannot resist with this thickness. So if the tire must be very good, and if you need to get a proper something proper what we proper maintaining of speed and without skidding and all, this treads we used to call it as a grip. Basically we used to call it as grip. Understanding? So this grip is only called as treads. So these treads will be removed from the tires means it will become baldy. Okay, so if they will become baldy means it is not using for the, it is not, we must replace. If not, it is not good for the driving. So like our even the tires of a bicycle also wear out gradually due to friction with the roads. So that is the reason gradually even with a particular regular interval of time we used to go for a replacement of tires. Okay, or else we will do the rebuild for again, means again some kind of material we will make a rebuild for the tires. Okay, so like these things we have to be we are going to make for the alternative for that friction. So this is the second disadvantages of friction, that is wears away the soles of shoes. Soles means that is first one, the bottom part of the shoes, like that. These are treads of tires, vehicle tires, like that. The next disadvantage is friction wears out the rubbing mission parts. Understand? So gear system. So you know that like even a crusher, we know that like sugarcane juice we used to drink regularly. So there if you observe the machinery, so many wheels are rotating. Even our bicycle you can see that so many wheels are rotating. So here if you see that gear system, suppose some kind of motor is present here. So here we are having some kind of gear. So gears will be like this. Is it cut or not? Gears will be like this. And here one more gear is rotating. So like this. Now this will be connected to a conveyor belt. Understanding? So if you keep the power, now automatically this will be belt is rotating means this will be rotating. If this wheel is rotating means this to upper wheel also will rotate. So here if you'll observe moving parts of this machine rubs against each other. Is it cut or not? So here these joints are always they are rotating, rubbing action is taking place. So there are many moving parts in machines like gears we used to call. Understanding? Even a bicycle also we are having some kind of gear systems, and bikes also and cars and all. Everywhere we used to use this kind of wheels. Okay, so there are many moving parts in machines which rub against each other constantly and continuously. Constantly they used to rub each other. So due to friction, the rubbing parts of a machine wear out gradually. Even though it is made with a metal, it is gradually it is the thickness will be decreasing. So it is wear out gradually if it is continuous constantly rotating. So the friction also wear out moving parts like balls, bearings of bicycle. We can see that if you'll say the wheel place, basically bicycle wheel will be like that. So here where the axle is present, we used to keep, if you'll observe, small kind of iron or steel balls will be present. That is only called as bearings. We used to call it as ball bearings. So this ball bearings of bicycle and other kind of machines also, this will be gradually wear out. So the worn out or damaged parts of machines have then to be replaced by new ones. So that is the reason why this friction is a disadvantage. Friction wears out the rubbing machine parts is a disadvantage. So we have to go for a replacement of these ball bearings or some other kind of this kind of gears and all. If it is damaged due to this friction, so we have to go for the replacement. Understand? So like that, the next disadvantage is friction wears out the brake pads of vehicles gradually. So this is the cars and all, you may don't know where the gears will be present, but in bicycle you can see basically this brakes. If you'll buy a new bicycle, if you'll observe the brake will be like this. You can see that in front of tires, back tire and front tire, both it is having both sides it is having a two brakes. So this brakes will be like this. So this brake is having some kind of a rubber material which is working as a brake. So if you press, if you press the brake, this will go and will stick to the rim of a bicycle and it will stop the bicycle. So when this brake of a vehicle, understand, like even in cars we cannot even see, by outside it is not possible. So when the brakes of a wheel or like a car are applied, a lot of friction is produced between the brake pads. Understanding, we used to call it as a brake pads. We used to call it as brake pads and moving parts of the wheels like disc. We used to see that cars and all, we are having some aluminum color discs. So there inside they are having a brakes. So this friction wears out the brake pads gradually. So it will be allowing this friction wears out the brake pads gradually. So due to this, the brake pads of vehicles have to be replaced quite often. Otherwise, the brakes will not function properly. So we used to call it as brake failure. So the brake pad of bicycle is made of rubber. Okay. So the new soft rubber pad of a bicycle, understanding, will be looking like this. Okay. In a few months, the bicycle brake pad gets worn out due to friction between brake pad and moving rim of bicycle wheel continuously. If you apply a brake, both will be a rubbing action, friction, and applying brakes. So the worn out of brake pad of bicycle will be turns into, it will be, this metal will be like this, but this brake, this rubber one will be decreasing like this. Means it is going to damage because of continuously applying brake pad. Due to the friction, it is damaged. So now after this also, if you are not replacing, means if you apply the brakes, this will never go and will touch the rim of the bicycle. So brakes, we can say that brakes will never apply. So bicycle will, we cannot stop. Like even vehicles also the same thing. So that is why we have to replace the brakes regularly. We have to check the brakes. So this brake pad it will be damaged because of the continuous friction. So the brake pads of a bicycle have to be replaced quite often because they wear away due to friction. Understanding? So like that, the next disadvantage of friction is friction wears out steps of staircases in building and footwear bridges. So that is also I will explain you now. Let me see how it will be. Like that, the next disadvantage of friction is friction wears out steps of staircases in buildings and also foot over bridges. So if you'll observe this, this is also we can observe in our day-to-day life. So wherever we are walking constantly, like in staircases, means in our steps to our reaching our roof or somewhere like in the mountains and all, even though if the steps is made with the concrete or some kind of stones and all, if the people are walking continuously same place, then you can see that regularly there the some part of that area is wears away. The thickness of that is even stones also, but it will be very, very slow process, but surely it will be happen. So when a lot of people use the staircase in a building every day, so many people in the same staircase in the building every day, so the friction between a soles of their shoes and the stones, the steps, understanding stone steps wears away, hard stone steps very, very slowly. So many times we see worn out steps of foot over bridges at railway stations. So railway stations, you can see that railway stations. Even in our buses also, a bottom part of the bus means where we used to keep our legs. Understanding that is made with some kind of steel material. Is it cut or not? So, but due to after 5 years, 6 years, the same bus, if you observe the thickness of that, it is used to having some kind of hills and grooves when it is fixed to the bus, means some kind of bubbles and something. So but after regularly using the same bus in for the lot of people, you can see that all the hills will be washed away, means it will be wear away. But it is not by 1 day or 2 days, it will be very slow process, but surely you can observe that the thickness of that will be decreases. So this mainly you can observe in railway stations. So the steps of foot over bridges at railway stations and other any kind of crowded places wear out due to the friction caused by the shoes of extremely large number of people who use these same kind of over bridges all the time. Okay, so this is our fifth disadvantage. Like that, the next disadvantage of friction is friction produces heat which may damage missions. Understanding. So due to this friction, see in last we have studied that due to this gears and all continuously contacting, the thickness is damaging. So the thickness is wearing the parts of the particles of that gears will be wears away. So like that, when they are in contact each other, okay, so the some kind of heat energy will release. So due to that heat energy, missions also will damage. So if we rub our hands together quickly, you can see that for a few seconds we will feel warm. Okay, so similarly when we this is because the friction between the hands produces heat energy. Even our hands, if we rub like this, you can see that will make the feel warm. So similarly when we operate a mixture or grinder for a few minutes, understanding its jar parts becomes very hard. So here again heat is produced by friction. So when the moving parts of a machine rub together like our hands, a lot of heat is produced due to friction between them. So this heat may damage the missions gradually. That is why we used to get a regular checkup for missions is required. If not, this kind of missions is damaged. Understanding? Like the next disadvantage of this friction is, see what is the previous disadvantage? Friction, whatever this friction causes the releasing of heat energy due to the what it is contacting of the parts of the mission. So this heat energy will damage the missions. Okay, so continuously they will be running because of this large amount of heat energy will releases. So here again a heat is produced by friction. So when the moving parts of missions rub together, a lot of heat is produced due to friction between them. So this heat may damage the missions gradually. So that is why we used to get some kind of, if this parts is damaged too much, we used to get some kind of different sounds from the missions and all because of this friction. So like that, the next disadvantage is this friction reduces the efficiency of missions. Okay, so some of the energy supplied to run a mission is wasted in overcoming this friction between its moving parts, and some of energy is wasted in the form of heat energy generated by the mission. So this wastage of energy reduces the efficiency of mission. So what is going to happen in this case? We are providing some kind of electrical energy to it. So this energy is not completely utilizing for our what we need, the purpose which we are giving, that supplying that electrical energy. Suppose you are grinding the some kind of dal or something. So whatever the energy which we are supplying, it is not completely utilizing for to crush, converting this dal into powder or something. It is some energy is useful for overcoming the friction between its moving parts, and some energy is wasted in the form of heat energy because of their continuous rubbing. Okay, and only remaining amount is useful for our purpose. So that is why here this wastage of energy reduces the efficiency of mission. Understanding? So the life of mission is decreases because of this friction. That is the overall meaning of this. Okay, the lifespan of machine is reduces. Like that. Next, last one is friction slows down motion. So the last disadvantage is friction slows down, understanding, slows down motion. So here in this you can see that friction reduces the motion of moving parts of a machine. Correct or not? Yes. So in fact, all the moving things such as cars, buses, aeroplanes, boats and ships, etc., they are slowed down by friction. But this friction, if without friction, it is not possible to start a car or stop a car. But due to this friction, anyhow, whatever the energy which we are giving, the speed which we are giving to vehicle, it is somewhat, it is reduced, slowed down because of this friction. Our fuel efficiency is decreasing. Understanding, but compared to this, if we should not even say this is a disadvantage, because if it is not happened, then there is no motion of any kind of machineries or vehicles. So that is why even though just we are studying, it is a disadvantage, but it is having compared to this, we are having a big advantage of this. Due to this means, if it will controlled only, we can stop the vehicle or else we can start the vehicle. Understand, if you want to stop moving vehicle or else if you want to move the stationary vehicle or object, this friction is compulsory, otherwise it is not possible. So that these are the disadvantages of 8 advantages and 8 disadvantages of friction. So with this, I'm going to end this today's class. In next class, we are going to study how to the methods of increasing friction and the methods of decreasing friction. How we can increase the friction when it is required, how we can decrease the friction when it is not required. Okay, thank you.